Keep walking!
Tonight, federal prosecutors revealing in the month leading up to his arrest, Ryan Routh repeatedly showed up near former President Donald Trump's South Florida home and golf course. Authorities say the 58-year-old was in the area for one reason only: to kill former President Trump. A new filing alleges months ago, Routh gave someone this handwritten letter addressed to the world, which says in part, "This was an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, but I am so sorry I failed you." Prosecutors say last Sunday, Routh hid here in a sniper's nest next to Mr. Trump's golf course until a Secret Service agent spotted Routh along the unsecure fence line, saw the barrel of a rifle aimed directly at him, jumped out of the golf cart, and fired at Routh.
This evil would-be assassin got within a few hundred yards of where I stood.
Driver! Walk straight back!
Prosecutors say 2 additional license plates, 6 cell phones, and 12 pairs of gloves were found in Routh's getaway vehicle, along with a list of some of Mr. Trump's upcoming appearances. Today in federal court, a judge ruled Routh will remain behind bars while awaiting trial. So far, he faces 2 federal weapons charges, but prosecutors say they'll soon present evidence of an attempted assassination charge to a grand jury. Tonight, in a statement, the former president saying he does not trust the Department of Justice and FBI to investigate, writing they have a conflict of interest since they have been obsessed with getting Trump for so long. Meanwhile, in court today, an FBI special agent said he is not aware of any surveillance video showing Routh holding that rifle at the scene. The agent also said there has not yet been any handwriting analysis completed linking Routh to that concerning letter. Lester?
All right, Jesse Kirsch, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.